Paramaribo, Suriname. The second round action continues in Group F in the Concacaf Qualifiers road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It is Suriname taking on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Sean St. Jacques, our entire crew, thrilled to have you with us. 88 degrees here in Suriname today as we kick off things in Group F. A very tough group, it must be said. And again, everyone trying to get into the top two spots in order to advance to the final round of Concacaf World Cup qualifying on the road to 2026. Suriname and St. Vincent and the Grenadines have both never made it to the World Cup, but of course a new format for the qualifiers and a new format for the World Cup proper. We're excited to see if they have a chance this time around, and certainly getting things started on match day one in the group on a positive note will be of the highest importance. These two teams last met in World Cup qualifying all the way back in 1994, fittingly enough, when the World Cup was also hosted by the United States of America. St. Vincent and the Grenadines got a win and a draw in the two head-to-head meetings. Of course, they'll meet home and away again this time around. And with the likes of Puerto Rico and others in the group, it could be very, very deep as far as the competition is concerned, which also alludes to the fact that match day one means quite a bit for both of these two countries. Suriname in general, not just on the national side of things, but at the club level as well, have been doing really, really well of late. Of course, this stadium is also home to SV Robin Hood, who are the current CONCACAF Caribbean Cup champions. Suriname continuing to try and rise further and further in the region. For St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they made positive steps in the last CONCACAF Nations League. I think there's no question about that. They didn't quite get promotion, but they're hoping they can maybe pull off a bit of a surprise, not just today, but in Group F in particular at this CONCACAF World Cup qualifying second round here on the road to 2026. And again, you know, both teams have never made it to the World Cup, but they have plenty of history in these qualifying rounds as well. Suriname did rather well in their last World Cup qualifying rounds, I should say, on the road to Qatar 2022. Of course, they didn't quite get there, but they did make some headway. St. Vincent and the Grenadines did get a win in the last World Cup qualifying group stage that they participated in, but nothing further than that. They'll hope to improve on that, if not go a step further this time around. But again, it's a tough group. It's going to be a very competitive Group F. We'll see who can get themselves out on the right foot this evening. We'll be joined here in Paramaribo by the teams in just a moment. So we will step aside, we'll get the teams out there, the anthems, and of course we will kick things off between Suriname and St. Vincent and the Grenadines in just a moment.
Let's observe one moment of silence. Ladies and gentlemen, Thank you. Please remain standing for the national anthems of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and after that, the national anthem of Suriname.
Well, the noise that follows the national anthems here in Paramaribo would tell you that this great crowd in Suriname is ready to get this one started. We're thrilled to bring this one to you. Again, first World Cup qualifying meeting between these two, fittingly enough, since they were fighting for a place at the 1994 edition, also played in the United States. Of course, this time around, the U.S. are co-hosts with Mexico and Canada, so all of them have obviously gotten the bids automatically, and we're excited to see who's going to move through to the final round of Concacaf World Cup qualifying this time. Of course, to get through, have to finish this Group F for these sides either in first or in second. Two captains are going to meet our officials in the center. Stefano Denswil for Suriname is the captain this evening. And for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it's DL Spring, meeting with our American officiating crew, going through their coin toss to see who will kick things off and where we will begin the match. Of course, Suriname are in their white kits with the green and red stripes across the front and the back, and it is the gorgeous greens with the gold trim for St. Vincent and the Grenadines tonight. And as you can hear, as you can see, great crowd on hand as we take a look at the starting lineups for both teams. Stanley Menzo's Suriname 11 looks like this. Rich Kaino Haps leads the back line after scoring in the last edition of the Concacaf Nations League. And of course, in the midfield, Farai Emmanuel and Kenneth Pal of Queen's Park Rangers will lead the midfield. Geraldo Becker of Union Berlin in Germany will lead the front line, along with Jarano Kirk and Jaretti Hilterman. For the visitors, under the tutelage of Theon Gordon, St. Vincent and the Grenadines line up like this. You immediately look at the front two. Orion Velox and Olex Anderson are certainly two of the key cogs. Sherwin Alexander, along with the captain Spring, in the midfield, and there was a late scratch. It was supposed to be Kyle Edwards that was part of the midfield. He is taken out of the 11. Stephen Pierre gets the start after originally being slotted for a place amongst the substitutes. One note, of course, for the Suriname national team as well. This is also the home, as we mentioned earlier, of club side and current Concacaf Caribbean champions SV Robin Hood, 4 of their players make amongst the substitutes. And for the first time since 1994, these two countries meet in a Concacaf World Cup qualifier on the road to the FIFA World Cup in 2026. Sean St. Jacques, our entire crew, thrilled to bring this one to you. Suriname will be going from right to left in their home whites, and they win an early free kick after some pressure coming in from the aforementioned Orion Velox. Match day 1 in any group stage is paramount. We'll see which of these two teams can get off to the right start. It could be a dream start for Suriname. It's going to flash wide of Lemus Christopher's goal after a searching ball in from the aforementioned Richkaino Haps. Well, that could have gone anywhere. He placed it inside the 18-yard box. Christopher was certainly interested, but St. Vincent the Grenadines will restart with a goal kick instead. More Suriname pressure leads to a takeaway, but it's shepherded out of play. Good defensive work from Joseph Douglas, and it'll be another goal kick. These early 80 seconds are any indication Suriname are going to turn up the heat and try to put St. Vincent and the Grenadines under a world of pressure at the start of this World Cup qualifier, and that continues right back out of play for a throw. Talked about the prior 2 meetings. It was a 0-0 draw back in the World Cup qualifiers, I should say, for 1994. Here in Suriname, when they last met in a World Cup qualifying round, St. Vincent the Grenadines won the second fixture by 2-1. A lot of time has passed, it must be said, since then. St. Vincent the Grenadines wouldn't mind if history repeated itself tonight. In the overall series between these two, Suriname does have the edge with 3 victories to St. Vincent the Grenadines 2. And there are 2 draws in the middle of all that as well. Here is Haps. There was time and space in the middle for Kenneth Pal. Good build-up from Suriname. Onto the far side it goes. Runners in the penalty area, but again it's cut out by Douglas. And Suriname will settle for a throw. Near side, this is Geraldo Becker, who bends one into the penalty area. It's dealt with initially and taken away and upfield by Spring. This is a lovely counter-attacking opportunity here. Velox trying to find Anderson, who was arriving at the edge of the penalty area. And for the first time tonight, Etienne Vason is involved, the goalkeeper for Suriname, and he quickly puts it back into the field of play. Joseph trying to run ahead, loses out. Too many Suriname defenders around him. Becker the other way. Pal. He's essentially Emmanuel out wide. Emmanuel continued his run. He's the one they look for inside the penalty area. It goes out of play. Joseph Dickerson is our head official tonight of the United States. It's an All-American officiating crew. Will be interesting to see, as it's another giveaway here, this time from the goalkeeper. Can Suriname take advantage of some free possession here? Becker. Pal plays it centrally. It's lovely skill here from Emmanuel. Out wide it goes, a chance to cross. And again, it's well defended by Joseph Douglas, out for a Suriname corner. I was about to mention, I was curious to see how St. Vincent the Grenadines are going to handle a late lineup change. That can sometimes put some teams in an early funk. For those just joining us, it was supposed to be Kyle Edwards who got the start tonight. Instead, Stephen Pierre enters, as Kyle Edwards was a late scratch. From what we could see, it looked like he was warming up in the lead up to the game, and he did show some frustration. We weren't sure what it was about. And then, of course, we were told later on that he was taken out of the starting 11. This ball's bent into the penalty area, and Christopher is able to claim. That was another searching ball, aiming for that man, Jaretti Hilterman. It was just over his head, and Christopher was able to calm things down for the visitors after some good service. Here comes Suriname once more. Pyle. Haps to the near side. Time and space for Becker. Becker bends it in. It's flicked over the top and onto the roof of the net. This time, Jairano Kirk was right in a good position. Tough technique, it must be said, on the header. Goes over the top and onto the roof of Christopher's goal. St. Vincent the Grenadines this time just trying to get the ball upfield. But again, the persistent pressure from Suriname looks to pin them back again. It's kept in play on the near side. Great extra effort. Emmanuel. Ball is spread out to this near side. Becker's been the outlet. Powell thought about shooting. Becker again. Tries to cross and wins Suriname another corner. It has been coming up on 8 minutes of consistent pressure. Give credit from a St. Vincent the Grenadines point of view, the likes of Joseph Douglas have been able to hold Suriname at bay for now, pending a corner. Pal is the short option. It's Becker instead. Ball is curled in, dealt with initially by Spring. Out of play for a throw into the hosts. Can Suriname pay off the early pressure here and break the early deadlock? That's going to be a big early storyline here. A lot of times when teams are not able to pay off the early pressure, it can come back to bite them. That ball sent forward, hits the referee, and rightly Joseph Dickerson stops the play. And St. Vincent the Grenadines will be able to reset. We saw both coaches, Stanley Menzo and Theon Gordon, looking on for their respective teams here, gaining early momentum in a group stage in general, but especially in one where only the top 2 spots allow you to progress to the final round of World Cup qualifying. A win really could provide the foundation. As a cross into the middle here from Haps is again blocked away, this time by Kevin Francis. Another opportunity to provide service into the penalty area. Suriname have won their last 2 home matches in World Cup qualifying. It was during the road to Qatar 2022. Oh, and from the service, it's volleyed over the top. You can see exactly what Suriname drew up there. Stefano Denswil arrived. Not bad on the technique, to be fair, but it was always going to go over the top. Not sure the ball could have been placed in a better spot for him. He slightly mistimed it. Now then, can St. Vincent the Grenadines break up the other end? They certainly have the pace to provide problems for Suriname. I'll tell you what, it's wonderfully dealt with in that defensive third by Leo Abena, and he works his way out of trouble. And now Suriname have a chance to counterattack up the other end. Ball's played to this near side. Becker's available. Becker plays it back across. You can see exactly what his idea was. It goes past Longwyk. And it's out for a throw. Now, Justin Longwyk, if he had just found him, Geraldo Becker, Suriname could have been in business. Lovely end-to-end sequence. To be fair, the 2 times that St. Vincent and the Grenadines have broken through the press, they've looked dangerous. Certainly look capable of creating opportunities up the other end. That's going to be key for them. They're going to leave with something. Now then, Haps. His pass comes up short. A push and a chase up the other end here from Tristan Marshall. Up ahead it goes for Anderson. And the first big chance of the night goes wide of Asen's goal. Now, Olex Anderson scored a hat-trick in the Concacaf Nations League. As St. Vincent and the Grenadines were a point away from promotion. He nearly got them on the board here, wasn't far away. The angle against him. Plays for USL League One champions a season ago, North Carolina FC, who are now in the 2nd division of American soccer, the USL Championship. Just a league below Major League Soccer. Does feel like if St. Vincent and the Grenadines are going to leave with something, a point or maybe more, Olex Anderson is going to play a big part in that. He always tends to for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Lovely ball cut through, Longwyk leaves it. Bend into the middle, it's chested down, and it's wide. Jaretti Hilterman with some wonderful control, but his frustration you see there is for the lack of a finish. Did everything right when the ball was brought into him, but he drags it wide of the frame. And that will go down as the closest chance Suriname have had in these 14 minutes and change. Game's gone up a few notches in these last 5 minutes or so. It's going to go out for a throw-in to the visitors. That was a look at one of the earlier opportunities. Haps into the middle. He's trying to find the likes of Hilterman and Kirk. Another ball floated up ahead. This is Kirk who gets on the end of it for Suriname. Kirk kept on going, but in the end, it's Najima Bergen who was able to get there defensively for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Stops the sequence, but at the expense of a Suriname corner. Kirk and Hilterman have looked very strong in the attack anytime they get on the ball. What can Suriname do from the corner? Kenneth Pyle. It's a good curling corner. It's getting past just about everybody. Justin Longwyke is able to retrieve it. Becker, Longwyke curling one. It's gonna go just about past everybody, and in the end it does go out of play. I'll give Longwyke credit for sticking with it, kept himself onside and available on this near side for an opportunity to re-enter the cross. But in the end there was just a little too much on it. Again, the group winners and the runners-up out of these groups advance to the final round. The teams are competing for 3 berths to the FIFA World Cup in 2026 and 2 playoff spots as well that should be mentioned that are also very much up for grabs. Becker, cutting inside, had some availability on the far side of the pitch. It's Kirk who keeps it alive, and then it's a rash challenge that comes in from Bergen, and it's going to be a Suriname free kick. It looked like Farai Emmanuel was trying to win the ball after Kirk nearly lost it. He got there first. Will be an opportunity here for Suriname. There's the look at it. Emmanuel gets there. Bergen second best. And Suriname have a very, very well located free kick to work with here. Paul is gonna shoot! Side netting. The angle was against him for a shot, but Christopher was interested in it. In the end, it is off target. Every once in a while, you see players do that, try to keep the goalkeeper honest at that near post. Pretty well struck by Paul, but the accuracy slightly lets him down. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines have a chance to work their way up the field at the other end. Velox trying to just push it past, but in the end is overzealous with the second challenge. And it's going to be a free kick. Anthony Dykesteel plays for Middlesbrough. Across the pond in England. Does very nicely. Able to just sweep the opportunity up. Ooh, and some pressure there from Anderson. This is going to be a potential giveaway here. St. Vincent and the Grenadines have it back. Anderson shoots! And he drags his shot wide of Vason's goal, who nearly made a mess of that. And certainly Theon Gordon and company will be encouraged by that sequence. There's an old sporting adage that teams that press don't always like being pressed. Suriname didn't quite answer the questions there, and they were nearly opened up off a giveaway. Referee's gonna play advantage here. Outside of the boot pass into the middle. Nearly gorgeously executed, but just a smidge too firm. Etienne Vincent is able to recycle the play. Couple of moments there for Suriname to have to work their way through. They're gonna try to play their way out of the back again here. There was a shirt pull. Good spot by the referee. Could have allowed Suriname to try to play their way through, but they didn't have an advantage. Clear shirt tug. Now Suriname to get a well-earned free kick in the end. This time Vincent's able to play his way through at least the first line of pressure. Gonna have to do it again here. Haps bends it upfield. Spring. Sent ahead by Douglas. It's well placed, goalkeeper commits! And it's a free kick on the very edge of the penalty area as Anderson was brought down. And St. Vincent the Grenadines are just asking the question of whether or not that was on the line, because if it was, that's a penalty. It's a yellow card for Vincent, who did not time the challenge. And it's gonna be a bare minimum here. A great chance for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There's no VAR. Oh, that's very close. We're talking very fine margins. Part of that too is Anderson's foot. At some point there looked like it was on the line, but was it there when the contact was made? And again, there's no VAR to go back and check that. To be fair to Joseph Dickerson, he has to make the call with some help from his assistant, but that's about it. In the end, it is going to be a set piece in a great position here for St. Vincent the Grenadines, and this man might be called upon again between the posts. 6 in the Suriname wall. Oh, and the shot is going to be palmed out by Vincent. He does stand up to the attack. It's a corner as Anderson nearly snuck it through. It's a stinging shot from Olex Anderson. And Vincent makes up for the mistake. Another look. Any lower, and Vincent could have been in a little bit of trouble there. Ends up being pretty well executed on both ends, frankly. Well struck on the free kick. Strong save. Now then, from the corner, bounces around, and it's going to be cleared upfield by Lonwijk. St. Vincent the Grenadines were a little bit slow to react, and they might not have the numbers to get back here, at least not initially. It's sent back to the goalkeeper, Christopher, who pops it up. And then it's going to be headed back to him. There's a nudge in the back. And after a frantic sequence, it's a free kick for the visitors. Well, Suriname reacted really well after it was clear. They sent numbers forward immediately. St. Vincent and the Grenadines were nearly caught out. They had enough midfielders back. But then the pass back to Christopher had a lot of pace on it. He didn't have enough time to react. And the end, a free kick allows St. Vincent the Grenadines to alleviate the pressure, and that will take place after a first half cooling break here in Paramaribo, Suriname. It has certainly been an enthralling opening 25 minutes in this second round of CONCACAF Men's World Cup qualifying in Group F on the road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We played in the US, Mexico, and Canada. Sean St. Jacques, our entire crew, thrilled to have you with us. Hope you've enjoyed it so far as much as we have. Big chances for both teams so far. Suriname's early pressure really was the pace setter in the early 10 to 15 minutes, but St. Vincent the Grenadines have certainly created chances. Olex Anderson had an opportunity there, dragged it wide, and then the best chance for Suriname was this opportunity. Hilterman, great control, was not able to pick out the finish, just wide of Limas Christopher's goal. And as we've come to expect, it has been a wonderful atmosphere here in Suriname. The fans have done a tremendous job, whether it's been through their instruments, their voices, or their encouragement. Give credit to Theon Gordon's group. St. Vincent the Grenadines took an early punch, lots of pressure. They held firm through the likes of Kevin Francis and Joseph Douglas making critical challenges. And they have worked their way back into the game. There's no question about that. And they've had the best chance. That Olex Anderson free kick saved by the man that conceded the free kick, the goalkeeper, Etienne Basin. This crowd anxiously awaits what they hope is an opening goal for their country. After the cooling break, St. Vincent the Grenadines roll it back into play. It's going to be a free kick. Pal, it looks like, is the guilty party on this occasion. It was the back end of the sequence. Set piece opportunity here. There's free headers in the middle. Whistle goes, and it's going to be a free kick because the offside flag is up. Now, those are opportunities for his team to try to put a shot on target, not able to do so. And Suriname again trying to catch out St. Vincent the Grenadines. They may very well do so, but Christopher makes the stop. Faint appeals for a penalty. St. Vincent the Grenadines get on with it. And then a free kick will go the way of the visitors just past the halfway line after good work from the captain, DL Spring, for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, we talked about it earlier, 5 teams in this Group F. It's a very packed group. Anguilla, Puerto Rico, and El Salvador are the other 3 teams fighting for one of those top 2 spots. It's a chance during this window, group stage play, to really get yourself off on the right foot in these CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. Uvesin played with fire a bit in his own penalty area, lives to tell about it. One more hesitation there, and Suriname could have been in some big trouble. moments of indecision, the Suriname goalkeeper, in these opening 30 minutes. Now then, Alexander. Marshall on the near side, beaten to it by Becker. Becker plays it back across, and it's in! St. Vincent and the Grenadines pounce on another Suriname mistake! It's their talisman, Olex Anderson, who gives them the lead in Paramaribo. What a moment for the visitors! And Olex Anderson gives St. Vincent and the Grenadines a 1-0 lead. Stunned silence at the Asset Stadion. Every time that St. Vincent and the Grenadines need a moment, Olex Anderson seems to provide it. He's done it again in these World Cup qualifiers. And it's the underdogs who have the advantage. Now, the tough part about this from a Suriname point of view is Becker does so well initially, but then places it in no man's land. Vincent didn't react quickly enough. Olex Anderson certainly did, and takes the big chance. You could sense the momentum shifting towards St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they've made the most of it. We talked about it, how Suriname's early pressure, they didn't capitalize on it in order to score a goal. Long way to go in this game, mind you, but it has come back to bite them in this first half. That's a slip. It's going to be a free kick for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's going to be, I believe, a deliberate handball here against Leo Abena. He's booked for that because he tried to stop the play with his arm after slipping. And it's going to be a free kick. You can see here he puts his arms around the ball looking for a free kick when he had slipped. Great job by the referee on the scene there to differentiate that. Free kick, yellow card for Abena, and potentially another chance here for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's going to be played short by Bergen. Bent into the penalty area towards Anderson, but doesn't get to him as Vincent collects out of the air. Ball's played up ahead. Hilterman was free initially, but it went over the top of him. That's a challenge that comes in from Pal. Free kick for St. Vincent and the Grenadines once more. Now, we talked about it the last time these two met on this stage. St. Vincent and the Grenadines got the upper hand, a win and a draw during 1994 World Cup qualifying. They have the lead in the rematch. We'll see if Suriname can pick themselves back up off the floor. Well, in a qualifying campaign, there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be moments where teams need to stand up and be counted. It feels like Suriname are facing one of those moments here. That ball is speared out to the far side. A push and a chase inside the penalty area. Well dealt with in the end by Dyke Steele. And he's going to win a free kick, and Suriname get on with it. is bent down the far side. Ricochets out for a throw. Looking for Gyrano Kirk. Ten minutes left in the half. Not the best of challenges there from Sherwin-Alexander. Free kick for Suriname. Denswell for Becker, gave the ball away to Olex Anderson. Was able to give St. Vincent and the Grenadines the lead about 5 minutes of game time ago. That's where we stand at the moment in this Group F opener, round 2 of World Cup qualifying in Concacaf. Play for another throw for Kirk and company. Play is stopped because there's a second ball that's bounced onto the pitch. Referee is rightly also talking to Najima Burgett, who was trying to time waste there. Oh, challenge! It's gonna be a penalty. It's inside the 18-yard box. And Suriname have a chance to reply towards the end of the first half from the penalty spot. Farai Emmanuel brought down inside the 18-yard box. And as we get a second look, Orion Velox, frankly, didn't need to make the challenge. He had cover behind him, and the referee immediately points to the spot. Another one of those that was sort of on the line, if you will. Referee had a good look at it. And really the big point in that sequence is that, again, St. Vincent the Grenadines fell asleep on a set piece, this time from a throw. And how fitting is it that the man who gave away the goal at the other end, Geraldo Becker, will get a chance to make amends from the penalty spot here for Suriname. Lemus Christopher is the man he has to beat. Stanley Menzo can barely watch. A huge, huge kick of the ball upcoming. Geraldo Becker, who plays his club soccer for Union Berlin, dispatches the penalty with ease. Becker conquers the pressure moment and makes amends for his earlier mistake. Suriname are level in Paramaribo. It's 1-1. It takes a lot of courage to step up in a moment like that for your country after making an error. Geraldo Becker conquers the moment, and Suriname are back on terms. And now they have to back things up a bit. St. Vincent the Grenadines looking to respond themselves, and Anderson is upended. It's a free kick for St. Vincent the Grenadines. Back and forth we go in this seesaw first half. And now it's Theon Gordon's turn to have a wry smile. Well, certainly it's been entertaining for the neutral, but it's been putting both sets of supporters through the ringer. Four in the wall for Suriname. It's going to be struck on frame, at least towards the frame. Looked good initially when it was struck. And Kajina Joseph, but it goes wide of the target. And that'll take us down to the final 5 minutes plus stoppage time of the half. 2 goals in the game, coming about 8 minutes between each other. Now then, Spring up the other end. It needs a good touch here inside the penalty area. It's Pierre who passes it across, and this time Suriname have it covered. And this time Becker is able to clear from a tight position. Now then, pushing a chase to the edge of the penalty area. It's cleaned up, and Suriname look to break up the other end. Becker bends it onto the far side, and it nearly was placed perfectly for Jairano Kirk, but he got there second. Battle continues for possession on the far side. It's a throw-in for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There's the penalty. Becker holds his nerve. Suriname have more work to do here. They concede a corner. Also, just to note, you can just see the relief on Stanley Menzo's face as he applauded Becker for taking advantage and, of course, meeting the moment. Every moment like that in a World Cup qualifying campaign could be critical. St. Vincent the Grenadines look to respond. Spring will send in the corner. It's at the near post. Miscommunication, frankly, between Vason and Hilterman. Hilterman heads it out, and it'll be another corner. A second try for Spring. He'll look to change the angle. Second opportunity came up short, and then the ball is sent backwards. Gives Suriname a chance to break out of their own penalty area. It's a good follow-up challenge as well by Haps to keep it on this near side. Moments like that can stifle a bit of momentum. Theon Gordon almost to just calm his side down. He says take a beat, slow it down just a tad, and just maybe regather a little bit from a mental perspective. There's been a lot of talking points from this first half. A lot has happened. This one's gonna bounce in behind. Hilterman's pressure forces the Francis clearance, and it's a Suriname throw as we get down to the final moments of the first half. Denswell plays it centrally. Chance to maybe maraud forward a little bit here for Suriname. And the ball is bent into the penalty area. You can see the give and go. That's what they were trying to accomplish on that far side, but the pass from Kirk was off target. Marshall. Will one of these two teams have a chance to take a lead into the break? Ball Ball is bent up ahead, looking for Anderson, couldn't get it to him. But Suriname concede possession again, only to win a free kick as they followed up. That'll take us into 3 added minutes at the end of what's been a tremendously entertaining and competitive first half, as we expected. Both of these teams want to grab that match day 1 momentum. Here's the challenge that came in from Bergen. It was a bit tardy. Second time Emmanuel's won a big challenge. First, of course, was the challenge that led to Suriname's penalty conversion from Becker. Vincent sends it upfield. Suriname have felt if they could just get long balls over the top, they'll be able to make some things happen. It hasn't really paid off for them yet. Lonwijk's header. And then Hilterman, maybe a little nudge, gives away a free kick. And then there was a little bit of head contact there. Douglas, I think, headed the shoulder of Hilterman. We saw it. I don't think the referee did, or he may have gone over to address the 2 players. Tough to tell if Douglas meant to do that, but he certainly didn't apologize for it. Still time for one more big chance at the end of the half. Emmanuel looks to catch up to this for Suriname. He plays it in the middle, and Hilterman heads it home! Suriname have turned it around in first half stoppage time. Jaretti Hilterman's header gives Suriname a 2-1 lead. It's the man who won the penalty earlier in the half, puts it on a platter for Hilterman inside the 6-yard box. Nobody marks him. And there's no question about what's happening next. Hilterman celebrates with his head coach Stanley Menzo. And the lead that St. Vincent the Grenadines enjoyed just past the half-an-hour mark has turned into a deficit. The Esed Stadion here in Paramaribo absolutely erupted after Hilterman headed it in. And there still might be time for one more attack as St. Vincent the Grenadines gave it right back off the kickoff. And it's gonna be a corner instead. St. Vincent the Grenadines realized there wasn't a lot of time left. They just tried to run it up the field. Suriname were ready for it, and they win a corner kick right back up at this end. St. Vincent the Grenadines all of a sudden have to be very, very cautious here. Emmanuel looked for a better angle, and the referee is not going to give them enough time to continue the sequence. And that will end the half. What a half we had here in Paramaribo. St. Vincent the Grenadines were in control after a bright Suriname start. But what a recovery from Stanley Menzo's group. Goals from Becker on the penalty spot and Hilterman in first half stoppage time to complete a Suriname turnaround. Still a big 45 minutes to go, but for the neutral, it was an enthralling first half to say the least. At the half in Paramaribo, it's Suriname 2, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 1. Players are back out for the start of the second half. We're in Paramaribo, Suriname, the Essed Stadion. Jean St. Jacques, our entire crew. Thrilled to have you back here with us. Back and forth we went in that first half. A lot of intrigue and enthralling moments. St. Vincent the Grenadines had a 1-0 lead with 14 minutes left in the first half. Suriname recovered it. They come back, they take a 2-1 lead into this second half. We've been told no changes for either side, and the second half begins here in Suriname. Match day 1 here in Group F of the Concacaf second round of World Cup qualifying on the road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the US, Canada, and Mexico. The game really ebbed and flowed in that first half. Could be more of the same in the second half as Kirk gets into the penalty area for Suriname, plays it across, and just like that, it's 3-1. Justin Longwhite forces it in, and Suriname pick up right where they left off at the end of the first half. They scored in first half stoppage time. They score within the first 60 seconds of the second half. Great run here by Gerardo Kirk. Into the middle it goes, and it is touched in by Justin Longwhite. Suriname's lead is doubled. It's 3-1 to the hosts. And Longwhite delivers a huge blow to St. Vincent the Grenadines inside of a second half minute. And it was Suriname who had the long faces after a half an hour. At one point the crowd was stunned into silence by Olex Anderson. It's a much more cheerful mood now. And now St. Vincent the Grenadines have to pick themselves up off the ground. Well, how quickly things can change in a group stage cup tie. Well, they say the best times to score are on either side of halftime. It's exactly what Suriname have done here tonight. It's one of those things that could just carry over momentum. And after a halftime team talk from Theon Gordon at 2-1, that deficit has just been doubled. Suriname, from their point of view, are back on schedule. And they might be able to add on here, as Christopher played with a little bit of fire there on the edge of the penalty area, reads it well in the end, and gets St. Vincent the Grenadines a refresh of possession. The one thing we can officially say now after that goal from Longwhite is it's the most goals ever scored in a World Cup qualifier between these two. 2-1 to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the '94 World Cup qualifying campaign. Was the previous high in goals scored. If Suriname can keep this up in the second half, it will be their first ever win over St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a World Cup qualifier. Again, we can't reiterate this enough, considering how difficult this group is with Puerto Rico, Anguilla, and of course El Salvador amongst it in Group F. Tonight was always going to be paramount for both teams. With that pressure, Suriname have been able to respond after being a goal down. They are now in a comfortable position, at least for now. Should mention, St. Vincent the Grenadines certainly capable of making a comeback themselves, but 2-1 is quickly turned into 3-1. And that's where you get into a dangerous territory if you're the visitors. couple of players warming up for Suriname as Kenneth Pal was a bit slow to get up, but looks to be okay for now. Of course, we talked about in the first half as well how Stanley Menzo, the Suriname coach, was going through the emotions. Well, it's Theon Gordon's turn now for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Both of these two countries certainly feel that they're right in the midst of things in this group. Only one of them is going to leave with something tonight if it stays like this. As we saw in that 15 to 20 minute period midway through the first half, St. Vincent and the Grenadines are certainly capable of causing Suriname problems. But on the road, can they pick themselves back up? That's going to be the big question mark moving forward. Certainly when they put pressure on Suriname, they were able to make some things happen, including, of course, getting their lone goal of the match to this point. St. Vincent and the Grenadines in their history, runners-up the 1995 Caribbean Cup, competition that Suriname has won in their history. You have to go back to 1978. They were runners-up the following year. Of course, both teams have made contributions in the Gold Cup. In their history, St. Vincent and the Grenadines made the group stage back in '96. This ball is going to stay in play. Hilterman's in the middle. It's going to come out for a chance. It pinballs around. And it goes back out of play for a goal kick as Lonwijk was arriving to try to make it a brace. May have gotten the worst of it off the ricochet. Look, great job to keep this in initially. Lonwijk arrives and it actually pinballs back off of his head and goes out of play. I wonder if that's a cue for Joseph Dickerson. Yes, it is, to allow the medical staff to come on and have a look for a possible head injury for Justin Lonwijk, the most recent goal scorer this Group F fixture. One thing that's for sure is that this crowd has given us a tremendous soundtrack and atmosphere so far tonight. One that he won't be too happy about, Theon Gordon. Has to love the way his team has played at times tonight, but it has unraveled a bit at the end of the first half, at the very, very beginning of the second half. But there's time left for things to change for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The ball is sent down this near side. Burgeon was the target. It's out of play. The second ball has rolled onto the pitch. We had a stoppage for that earlier. It's not involved, I should say, in the play. So at least for the time being, we will continue on. Mason clears it upfield. And will be headed out for a Suriname throw. And we're going to have this window of multiple match days into the middle of June. Interesting to see where these teams stand at that point. And then, of course, we'll reconvene in 2025 for further World Cup qualifiers. The final round of qualifying, which will feature 12 teams, will take place between September and November of 2025. And, of course, after that, we will know who will go through, the 3 teams that will clinch a berth to the FIFA World Cup in 2026. and the two that will have to settle for the playoffs. Of course, there's a long way to go until we get to that. Here's Francis. Up ahead to try to find Spring. That's going to be a free kick for St. Vincent the Grenadines. We'll put them in a position to try to create something from a set piece. Another look, Spring bundled into. I think Suriname were saying that he couldn't get back to the ball. I think DL Spring would tell you that he was impeded trying to get back to the ball, despite a loose touch. Can the visitors find a route back? This is gonna be a shot! And it's palmed over the top by Vincent, out for a corner. Now Etienne Vincent's had a few adventures, let's say, inside the penalty area already tonight. And out of the penalty area, frankly. They tested him, and he concedes a corner. Ball is bent in. DL Spring is closest to it. He's going to let it run. It'll be a throw-in for the visitors here. Can Najima Burgeon find somebody? He can. He's going to get it back on a return. He's closed down. Was he clipped? The answer is no. And it is going to go Suriname's way. Another look here. Well, there was a little bit of contact, but not enough. Looked to be more of an embellishment, I think, than anything else. Geraldo Becker, maybe he's had the biggest moment of the evening so far, converting that penalty that was won by Farai Emmanuel. That really changed everything. Penalty was converted, as you can see there, 39th minute by Becker. That tied the game. Goals from Hilterman and Lonwijk have seen Suriname build a 3-1 lead. Steele is forced back. This is where St. Vincent the Grenadines were able to make something happen in the first half when they were able to put pressure on Suriname. They had some big moments. Nearly another one there. Ball's played up the other end. Francis on the cover. He follows up. And then it gets a little testy. Francis, who followed up and looked to have won St. Vincent the Grenadines a throw-in, continued the conversation. It did get a little bit chippy at the end of the first half. Well, cooler heads always prevail. In these situations, both teams have to hold their nerve a bit. Don't want to force the referee's hand and really change the potential outcome of a match like this, where it still is up for grabs at 3-1. Here's what happened. Well, to be fair to Francis, he did not initiate this. This is all Geraldo Becker. Francis didn't necessarily have to engage after that, but Becker's the one that started the whole thing. Nothing had taken place before that. And it doesn't look like any punishment is going to be handed out. Sherwin Alexander, though, is holding his face here. Might have have been poked in the eye. At least that was the initial indication. Having a word about it with Joseph Dickerson, our head official. And again, doesn't look like any cards were handed out. So we will restart the Suriname throw. And the hosts in possession as we approach the hour mark. And it feels like that if St. Vincent the Grenadines are going to get back into it, they've got to turn up the heat again with the pressure. Another moment where Suriname nearly play themselves into big-time trouble. And they still might. It's played up ahead. Anderson holds it up. Anderson scored earlier, but he's dispossessed here. Again, we're starting to see anytime St. Vincent and the Grenadines start to collapse on Suriname at the back, they are forcing errors almost every time. Suriname this time are able to get into the final third with Kirk. Emmanuel got an assist earlier. Trying to find Longwyke this time. But the ball did just go over the line, it looks like. And I think this has been given as a goal kick. Or has it? No, I beg your pardon. It's still with Suriname. It's a throw. Referee pointed for a goal kick initially. Or at least pointed in that direction. This one is speared into the middle. Headed by Burgeon. Headed back towards Kirk. Burgeon's there again. Kirk follows up. And Spring comes out with it. Emmanuel's challenge to follow up. Sees the visitors get a throw. Theon Gordon has clearly told his guys, go back to what was working in the first half. It nearly yielded not one, but two big opportunities. As there's going to be a push here against Kanisha Joseph. That'll be a free kick for Suriname, who are about to make a couple of changes, it looks like. That is going to be that for Leo Abena. He is replaced by Shaquille Pinas. And that's going to be it for Kirk as well. Gerardo Kirk is taken out. And Jaden Montnor is going to replace him. Those are the first two substitutions of the evening. Again, we talked about why St. Vincent and the Grenadines may have had that slow start at the very beginning of the match. Theon Gordon had to replace Kyle Edwards as a late scratch from the starting 11, put in Stephen Pierre. That could have been what led to Suriname being on top early, but St. Vincent and the Grenadines battled their way back. They got the lead. And for about 7-8 minutes, looked like they were capable of adding on to that lead until Suriname won a penalty. They converted the penalty, and the hosts have been in control ever since. That's a push from Spring away from the ball. That gives Suriname a free kick. And only the group winners and the runners-up advance of each of these Concacaf World Cup qualifying groups. So 3 points tonight could be critical. Great ball across here. Not the best of touches as Montnor nearly picked somebody out. A better first touch, and that could have provided a massive Suriname chance. talked about the success Suriname had in their World Cup qualifiers for Qatar, especially here in Paramaribo. They really shined. If the result holds, they'll pick up their 3rd straight win at home in Concacaf World Cup qualifying. In those last 2 home matches, Suriname scored 9 goals and kept a clean sheet. That was in the first round of Group B. They defeated the Cayman Islands and Bermuda as well. Bermuda actually just got a result earlier tonight. A 1-1 draw at Antigua and Barbuda. Great result for them. These road matches in particular, if you can get something from them, of course, coupling that with taking care of business at home could put you in really good shape. That's why St. Vincent the Grenadines will feel that these last 25 minutes could be critical for them if they can get a goal back. Suriname want to finish the job. Montnor's in space. He plays it across, but it's behind, well, 2 players who were arriving. Hilterman, and looked like Lonwijk as well, the 2 goal scorers. Were trying to get on the end of it, but they'd already run past it. Emmanuel will try. Play it centrally. Hilterman had a chance to run onto it. It was Lonwijk who just slithered the ball through. Lemus Christopher reacts first for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Lovely ball up ahead. Lonwijk for Becker. Becker looks for the cross. Hilterman is in the middle. Montnor volleys it! And he volleys it wide of the target. Would have been a tremendous introduction. Jaden Montnor's made an impact since coming on already. He nearly put himself on the score sheet. That will cue some changes for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Marian Velox is going to be the first to come off. We're going to see Courtney Franklin come on. It looks like Stephen Pierre, who was the late change to become a starter, he is off as well. And Saviola Blake is going to replace him. Courtney Franklin in particular is definitely an attacking change for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We'll be seeing him in green, number 16. He'll be trying to make some of those similar runs that Olex Anderson's been making all night. And right on cue, Anderson involved there, wins a free kick. Follow through there. Emmanuel, he clearly didn't mean to, but he also clearly made contact. Ooh, that was a chance from Franklin. Burgeon. Back into the middle, Anderson put his boot through it, but the angle was against him and he blasted out of play. Theon Gordon's back up off the cooler, sensing another potential wave of attacks for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is similar, I should say, to how the first half went, only Suriname didn't score that early. This be a chance for St. Vincent and the Grenadines if they can continue to put some pressure on to possibly, quite possibly, fight themselves back into it again. This time Suriname, however, play their way through, and Montnor's unmarked! Jaden Montnor finishes off the chance! Massive celebrations breaking out in Paramaribo. Suriname extend their lead to 4-1. They've been trying these long balls all night. It finally pays off. St. Vincent and the Grenadines caught out. The substitute slots it in. And it will likely mean that Suriname will place themselves at the very top of Group F. Jaden Montnor, he's the 4th different Suriname goal scorer tonight. We want more, is the cry out from the crowd. They certainly like what they've seen since around the 31st minute. That's going to be a goal kick as St. Vincent and the Grenadines again try to get right back after it. Tristan Marshall runs out of room. It's been Geraldo Becker and the Killer Jays for Suriname. Jaretti, Justin, and Jaden have all led the way on the score sheet. From the penalty spot, Hilterman, Longwyke, and Montour all from open play. Might seem like a distant memory now, but remember, Suriname trailed in this game. They might have a chance to extend their lead again. It should be a 5th. Oh, it's off the bar. That would have surely settled it. The aforementioned Geraldo Becker smashes it off the frame. That would have been curtains for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Half the crowd is still trying to catch their breath. They asked for more, they nearly got it immediately. Suriname are getting another substitution ready. Virgil Misijan is getting set to come on at the next possible opportunity, you would think. Here's Burgeon, bending one into a good area, but nobody was there. 17 minutes left. We're really starting to see some of the frustration from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's tough on the road when you have a lead and lose it to come back. And despite some great fight, especially after going 3-1 down, saw the pressure go back up and Suriname looked uncomfortable. It's unraveled again, and it could get worse with Emmanuel playing it across. Nobody there for Suriname. St. Vincent, the Grenadines look to go up the other end. Anderson, the outlet, couldn't catch up to it. It's actually going to be 2 changes for Suriname here. It's going to be the end of the night for Justin Longwyke, one of the goal scorers. I beg your pardon. It's going to be the man who has been setting up the assists tonight. Emmanuel. Oh, it's actually going to be both. How about that? Longwyke and Emmanuel are both going to make way. One of the Robin Hood players, Renski Adipi, is going to come on, along with the aforementioned Misijan. Great impact from Emmanuel and Longwyke tonight. There's no question about that. Longwyke got one of the goals. Emmanuel won a penalty that led to the Becker equalizer, and then got the assist on the Hilterman goal that gave Suriname their first lead of the night in first half stoppage time. DP was on the SV Robin Hood team, the current Concacaf Caribbean Cup champions. Midfield certainly been part of the setup as well here. The Suriname group to help get his nation through the last 15 minutes and change. Hilterman is targeted again. Well dealt with by Douglas, who's had a good night for the visitors defensively. Now it's Christopher to reset for the visitors, who are 3 down and starting to run short on time here. Oh, that's one back. Franklin! Oh, it's palmed over the top by Vincent. That's his biggest contribution of the night. Again, Suriname not able to cope with the pressure when they play out of the back, and they're nearly punished by Courtney Franklin. It took a deflection, and Etienne Vincent makes his biggest stop of the evening. It nearly snuck in under the bar. Give credit to the visitors here. They are not going to go down without a fight. DL Spring from the corner. He bends one in. Mason was able to just get enough on that. And then the ball rolls out of play. It's going to be another corner after it was miscontrolled by Midfield. 13 minutes left. Crazier things have happened. 1 goal from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And things could get a little bit uncomfortable again for Suriname. They've certainly struggled when trying to play out of their own end tonight. It's going to go right at goal. And again, Vincent is there. He just touches it over. It'll be another corner, a 3rd try for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Vincent was able to just about get enough on the first one, and then that time just thought better of it, pushed it over. It's Theon Gordon's side look for some late hope. Another set piece, and they'll have to take it again. Headed out for a 4th corner. That's what he's hoping. Coach Gordon, 1 goal can change it. Spring. Put too much on it. And it's going to go out for a throw. Match day 2 for Suriname in this group is going to see them go to Anguilla, Raymond Iguachar Technical Center in the Valley. St. Vincent and the Grenadines actually stay here and play host on match day 2, as this one is bent in just past the arriving Midfield. St. Vincent and the Grenadines actually host El Salvador here on Sunday. That's their next match in this group. Certainly does not get easier for either side. Again, it is a loaded Group F. Great run from Adipi. Got some of the fans off their seats here. Nothing came of it. At the other end, St. Vincent the Grenadines not able to pounce. And Suriname get a refresh of possession. Minutes plus stoppage time left. Montnor, the goal scorer. It's played centrally. Sidjan, maybe one too many touches. Keeps the play alive and then gets it back. And then is fouled, impeded by Kevin Francis, who's going to be booked. And it's a Suriname set piece. Great build-up here from Suriname after it nearly got away from them, and then very clearly Francis has a hand on the hip. Sidjan. This is certainly within range for a possible shot on target here. Lemus Christopher is going to have to be ready for the visitors here. Confirmation of the Francis yellow. Captain Denswell and the substitute Sidjan are the two most likely. It's Sidjan. He had the right idea. Did everything but put it on target, really. Had good shape. To be fair to Christopher, however, I think if it was on target, he likely has it covered. Spring over the top. This time, Suriname with the press not as organized for St. Vincent the Grenadines. We'll play through the first wave. Here's a DB. Scored some big goals for Robin Hood here on their journey to the Caribbean Cup title. He gets another chance here. He's just a step too far behind as Christopher beats him to the ball. Steal down this near side. Becker fends off the challenge, sends it into the middle, and the referee brings it back, says that Becker did not keep it in play. It's a goal kick. Lead to 2, St. Vincent the Grenadines swaps Aaron Jackson and Garrett Ledgerwood. They're both going to come on. Nisha Joseph is the first to come off. And it's Burgeon who also makes way. So Burgeon and Nisha Joseph come off. Jackson and Ledgerwood on. As you can see there, I think it just trickled over the line before Becker could place it into the middle. Both teams have used 4 of their 5 available substitutions as Christopher fends off the challenge. Said earlier, already one result in the books from Group A of Concacaf World Cup qualification today. Antigua and Barbuda and Bermuda finishing 1-1, a late 90th minute equalizer. Sachel Ming. Suriname will make that final change. We just talked about it earlier. They had one remaining. The goal scorer, Jeremy Hilterman, he's going to make way. He gave Suriname their first lead of the night. And certainly a fan favorite around these parts. Another Robin Hood man, Jamilio Richters, will take his place. Well acquainted with the friendly confines of the Esed Stadion. Of course, tonight is still jam-packed with more action from different groups. Curacao and Barbados in Group C will play later on tonight. Guatemala and Dominica as well in Group E. And we'll see Nicaragua against Montserrat, another enthralling fixture, no doubt. Here in Paramaribo, St. Vincent and the Grenadines had a lead at one point in the first half. It lasted for 8 minutes. They haven't led since. And now a yellow card has come out. Looks like that was a point over to the captain, Stefano Denswell. We'll await confirmation on that. A little bit of time wasting from Suriname. There is the confirmation. The captain has been booked. 4 minutes plus stoppage time left for Suriname to confirm a first win and 3 points in Group F on the road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. They have some defending to do here. It's crossed into the middle. It went past Vason. Nobody in green could get there, I should say, to touch it. Franklin follows up, but he couldn't find Saviola Blake inside the 18-yard box. Richters bends the ball up ahead. You could see where he was aiming. Couldn't find Jaden Montnor. Going to get poked through. Anderson second best. Suriname plugging up some of the holes. It must be said, yes, they're up 4-1, but St. Vincent and the Grenadines have exposed an issue for Suriname throughout the night, and that's been their ability to play out of the back. That'll be something that Stanley Menzo and company will have to rectify as this group stage moves along into the weekend. There are teams in this group, not just St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that can certainly take advantage of that. I think for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it's just the fact that it hasn't been consistent enough with their pressure at times tonight. And to be fair, they've had a couple of big missed opportunities. But you have to credit Suriname, they did not yield. After giving up the first goal, they came right back, got the equalizer from the penalty spot, and 1 turned into 2. At the end of the first half, 2 turned into 3 at the beginning of the second half, and then 4 shortly followed after that. One last change for Theon Gordon. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The captain, DL Spring, is off. Adine Charles is going to replace him in the 90th minute. Here's Richters for Suriname. Lovely close control. Plays it across. Becker is held up. And then he crossed it, or a little pass, I should say, from Montnor. And Montnor skies it. Well, it was clever initially there from Geraldo Becker, but ran out of room, and Montnor did not have enough time to really settle himself. Oh, that's a lovely ball played up ahead. Oh, a challenge possibly inside the penalty area. A few appeals, to say the least, for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Olex Anderson convinced that he was fouled. We get a second look at it. And to be fair, he trips over his own 2 feet. That's not a penalty. At the other end, Christopher is forced to make a stop. But it's going to be a free kick for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Still a lot happening, despite the game likely beyond a reasonable doubt.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official has indicated that there will be 3 minutes of added time.
The ball's played for Anderson. Anderson into the penalty area again, and he loses his footing. Referee stops the play because Olex Anderson is in some discomfort. That's the last thing Theon Gordon wants at this stage of the game, where it's essentially decided. Gotta give credit to Olex Anderson. He's continued to fight and fight and fight on. This crowd, I should say, they wanted to show, they wanted more and more goals as the match went along. They're going to be pretty darn happy in the next 2 minutes. These 4 added on at the end of the match, and they're confirmed as the winners tonight. And again, it would be a bit of history for Suriname. The last time these two met in World Cup qualifying, you have to go back to 1994's World Cup in the U.S. St. Vincent and the Grenadines went unbeaten over those 2 games. That was a long time ago. Would be a little bit of a dose of revenge here. As Jamilio Richters runs in behind the defense. Richters across. There was too many green shirts in his way. Full time here in Paramaribo. Suriname celebrations ring out as the hosts win it by 4-1 over St. Vincent and the Grenadines. 4 different goal scorers along the way after St. Vincent and the Grenadines briefly led for 8 minutes in the first half. Suriname would quickly equalize after that, and they wouldn't look back from there. 2 goals in the first half, 2 in the second half. Suriname pole vault to the top of Group F after 1 match day for them in the Concacaf qualifying round to the World Cup in 2026. This crowd was certainly expectant of a big performance. It didn't look like it was going to happen at times in that first half. Give credit to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They were more than up for the fight throughout the entirety of the 90 minutes. They ran out of steam, and once the Suriname train started rolling down the tracks, there was no looking back. We'll see how these 2 teams do at the weekend, but tonight is Suriname's night in Paramaribo. It finishes Suriname 4, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 1. Suriname are at the top of Group F.
Thank you.